Canada's unemployment rate is breaking records. You wouldn't think so if you saw how many temporary foreign workers were entering the country. Just go to your local immigration office and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, finally, we have some big players. We got Pierre Poilievre coming out, naming and shaming some of the biggest abusers of the temporary foreign worker program. Ladies and gents, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Clyde. Welcome to the show. The subscribe button is just down there. Just go hit that at your leisure and we'll get right into this story. Darshan Maharaja, I want to point him out as one of the biggest players and one of the biggest guys out there blowing the whistle for over the past 10 years, talking about this LMIA fraud, temporary foreign worker scams that have been going on. Canadian journalist, of course, Darshan Maharaja. Go follow him. The link will be in the description down below. But he's talking about the labor market impact assessment. That's the tool that is being used. That's what it's called. To get foreign workers to come in and work in Canada by trying to prove to the government that you can't find Canadian workers for jobs. So there you have to go outside of the country to bring people in. And he says, what I and many others have been saying for years is now officially confirmed by the government, that LMIAs are being sold and the workers are being exploited financially and physically. I'll add that the government has created a permanent underclass for votes. Yeah, that's right. How would they vote if they're not citizens? Well, this is the temporary foreign worker system that's set up for very permanent residencies in Canada. And we're getting into that here. Of course, Holly Doan pointing this out, saying federal inspectors confirm black market in migrant worker permits. According to Labor Department, the misuse includes both the buying and selling of these permits that are supposed to be free. They're not supposed to be. It's the whole idea is to get people to work where they can't find workers. But how is this possible when our unemployment is at record highs? Well, that's because Canada's getting scammed. That's exactly what's happening, as well as the unethical recruitment and exploitation of vulnerable foreign nationals for personal and financial gain. That's correct. This is what's happening. Now, this was brought to the attention of Pierre Poilievre recently, as he was asked by Ezra Levant, would you please start pointing out and, naming and shaming some of the big players that have been doing this? Because I guess they're not going after them with the laws, and they're not going after them, by actually punishing these companies. Why don't we actually at least name and shame them? This is such a great question from Ezra Levant to Pierre Poilievre.
Hi, Ezra Levant from Rebel News. I thought it was very interesting about booster juice paying $36 an hour to a foreign worker, and I think a lot of Canadians don't know how pervasive this is, and that's an outrageous anecdote. I don't think the Liberals are going to accept your advice here, so I think your reforms wouldn't be able to bite until you become Prime Minister if that happens. But I think there is something you could do in the meantime. And let me ask you if you would consider this. I'm actually just doing some brainstorming here. Would you consider shining a spotlight using your bully pulpit on the worst offenders? For example, maybe a company that really wraps itself in the Canadian flag, like Tim Hortons. Would you consider having an event outside of Tim Hortons? Would you consider writing to the board of directors of RBI and the Brazilian hedge fund? And I guess what I'm saying is there's no downside to these companies hiring foreign workers. But if there was a PR downside, if patriotic Canadians said, this is enough. I notice in the UK there's a lot of people waving British and English flags. It's their response to immigration crises. Would you consider naming and shaming in the public domain abusers of the TFW program?
Yes, and thank you for the question. Michelle Rempel has already begun the process. She's been publishing the most egregious cases of corporate elites profiting by shutting Canadians out of jobs in favor of low-wage temporary foreign workers. And Michelle, do you want to add anything to that?
Sure.
Come on over.
So he brings Michelle over, which
Thanks for the question, Ezra. It's absolutely egregious.
you might have needed a booster for this one. Sorry, Michelle. Oh, that's kind of funny. Big shout out to Mr. Sunshine Baby for posting this out there. Now I'll leave a link in the description if you want to hear what Michelle had to say. But Pierre Poilievre actually came out and made an announcement on this, specifically pointing out Tim Hortons, and as you heard, Booster Juice. A number of these other companies, they're all doing this, but you got to come out hard and put it on somebody, at least somebody who wraps themselves in the Canadian flag, a Brazilian company, as Ezra pointed out just there. But the other point is, these workers are being subsidized by the Canadian government. They're being paid up to $3 an hour they're subsidizing the foreign workers. The employer will get $3 per hour to give to these workers so that they can pay them less, essentially. And who's paying for it? Well, the taxpayer is paying for it. Here's what Pierre Poilievre had to say about Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons has hired an unimaginable 1,131% more temporary foreign workers in the last 4 years. In the first half of this year alone, the TFW program has imported 74% more low-skilled labor than in all of 2015. TFWs, the number of temporary foreign workers, is now 2% of our overall workforce, and a staggering number, an unprecedented number. Now, the Liberals promised they would cap the temporary foreign worker program at 82,000, but in the first 6 months, they've already handed out 105,000 permits. To put this into perspective, if they do the same number of permits for temporary foreign workers in the next 6 months that they did in the last, they will break the record again with over 200,000 temporary foreign workers coming in to take jobs when our own young people are facing record unemployment.
That's right.
The Liberals have to answer, why is it that they're shutting our own youth out of jobs and replacing them with low-wage temporary foreign workers from poor countries who are ultimately being exploited? Tim Hortons.
And it really is an exploiting game. This is what has been pointed out by Darshan for some time, and even went all the way to the United Nations. They wrote a report saying, hey, Canada, it looks like you have indentured servitude going on in your own country. This is crazy. And of course, meanwhile, we have some of the craziest unemployment numbers coming out. Mark Nixon pointing out, says, breaking, this is catastrophic. The only employer adding jobs is the Canadian government. Well, except for the temporary workers, but that's not Canadian jobs. That's not employing Canadians. Canada's about to implode. Check this out. This is crazy. Public administration, arts, entertainment, and recreation are the only employers that are growing in Canada, while everywhere else, manufacturing, retail, construction, healthcare and social assistance, all of this, professional science and technological services, everything going down, 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 down. This is nuts, and it's nuts that we still have this system of bringing people in. And this is the crazy part, is they've been bragging about it for years. This is a video that's over 3 years old saying Tim Hortons employee owner became an employee, became an owner, and then ended up owning several Tim Hortonses, and now is bragging about how he's been giving permanent residence to all these students, 40 to 50 students. That's of 3 years ago. Let's just wonder how many more permanent residents he's been bringing into the country. This isn't the role of the temporary foreign worker program. This is actually an abuse of the system, and flagrant, because look, they're bragging about it on YouTube. This is the video here, and it's mostly in foreign language, but he has it here. Hi, in this video, you will get to know the journey of this person who came to Canada as an immigrant in 2009 and now owns multiple Tim Hortons franchises in the northwest region of Ontario. In addition to that, he also provides PNP or LMIA, so the labor market impact assessment, if needed, at no extra cost to employees, tens of international students. And he's been helping people get their PR in Canada, their permanent residencies, which is the pathway to citizenship. Is this the purpose of the temporary foreign worker program? I would not think so. I think The first word in the program is temporary, and this is where the abuses are coming from. It's coming from the good old corporation of Tim Hortons in Canada. Again, going back to the old Timmigration office, and this is what Tim Hortons has become. Let's just be honest, their coffee is not as desirable as it used to be. Donuts are no longer made fresh in the stores. What it is it's a franchise for churning out new voters in the country, and well, with the aid of the Liberal government, because they're not really putting their foot down on this stuff. This is what's been happening. But I'd love to hear your comments on this and everything that I've talked about in this video. What do you think about unemployment in Canada? The fact that kids can't find jobs. There is no way for any kids to get themselves into an entry-level position here in Canada when we have these immigration mills coming out of basically everything that is entry-level positions. Just go around the country. People have been noticing this, and it's caused a lot of animosity between racial groups and all this stuff. Nothing about this is good. Nothing that's come out of this has been good. Let me know in the comments what you think, and don't forget to tune in tonight. Tonight we'll be live streaming at 5:30 Pacific time. That'll be 8:30 Eastern. Check your local listings, I guess, what time that'll be for you. We'll see you tonight. Keep on trucking.